News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM. Dave Wolf, Bret Witkowski here at Mattawan High School, wrapping up tonight's St. Joe game 15-13, and I'd had to memorize that because they shut the scoreboard off already before you notice. But
I notice these things when we visit.
I think the one thing that St. Joe had to deal with tonight.
Take me out of the picture here.
Well,
I know we're not. I know we got faces for radio.
Yeah, but I think the one thing that St. Joe was kind of afraid of tonight was the fact that it was grass.
Yeah.
And you could tell there was more than a couple occasions where the grass really, I would say, hindered St. Joe a little bit. You saw a couple of times when Croston slipped down.
Yep.
They weren't able to get their footing on some occasions. But I think when the right time came, St. Joe was actually able to adapt, get used to it, and started adjusting the way they ran the ball.
Well, and I think it rained so much.
Yeah.
And, Mattawan played pretty much a five-man front the entire ball game.
One man was the size of two, so it almost was a six-man front, really.
Correct. He was a very
big boy.
He eats well. And it really stymied St. Joe's running game, and they threw the ball like they'd never thrown before. I think they were 113 going into the halftime, and a lot of those were tough passes from the standpoint of the weather. They had to be right on the dime, otherwise they're going to be incomplete. And there was a couple maybe dropped that would have been caught during drier weather. But I think what was important, I thought, for the Bears coming out in the third quarter, they established themselves in the third quarter. Mattawan got the ball, start the third quarter. St. Joe made them go third and out. They go down and score. He had a big run by Jackson Lane, and he was our laser graphics player of the game. He had 96 yards on 5 carries.
And that one carry was 63 yards for the touchdown.
Longest run of the season for the Bears from line of scrimmage. And you have to give credit to that young man. He started the first game against Niles and then alternated with Crossman, and then did not play 2 games at all. But obviously he stayed on top of things, and when he's gotten his opportunity, he has seized it. Then he followed it up with a great pass to DeLong and the tight end. And what they did is they sent Barlow in motion, and he drew the linebacker out of the middle for Mattawan, which made a seam play easy for DeLong. The key is that to make sure the pass is on the dime, and it was caught in the breadbasket. And I thought St. Joe's defense did a really nice job up front there. Jack Lawrence did a great job with 7 tackles, 3 for loss of yards. He was really close to being our player of the game, and a lot of players. Wrapup had 2 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss of yards. So, but on the flip side, you got to give credit to Mattawan. They only had 25, 27 guys dressed. They lost their starting quarterback last week, lost another good player, and they came out and they laid it all on the line.
Well, mentioned the starting quarterback. I was going to mention, but we weren't able to do our pregame thing. When you lose the starting quarterback, things can go either 2 ways.
Mm-hmm.
You saw from St. Joe 2 years ago when they lost Preston Nichols.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Lanier came in and led them to the state semifinals. Mm-hmm. And you go with Lakeshore last year, they lose Ryan Korfbacher, and their season went downhill. So a starting quarterback, doesn't always mean anything. But when you lose it, your backup can go both ways. And in this case, Mattawan's backup was probably just as good as their starter.
He did a nice job. Again, you got to give credit to Mattawan. They came out, they fought, they played well. I didn't think they managed the clock real well the last minute and a half. I thought, running at one play, then not taking a timeout, letting the clock run. I get it if you're kicking a 19-yard field goal, but to run the clock out to get a 48-yard field goal at high school with the wind the way it was blowing, maybe not the best manager of time. But to their credit, they hung in there. I wasn't, and I officiate and even had a chance to do college. I wasn't a big fan of the late call there on St. Joe. I kind of alluded to Tom Brady protection type of play. And I got some people already messaged me about I'm knocking Tom Brady. Great quarterback, but let's face it, he got protected pretty well.
The thing about that thing is the whistle hadn't blown yet.
I didn't think so. And they didn't drive him to the ground.
No.
But that's okay. At the end of the day, the officials overall do a great job. It's just, there's always going to be mistakes, in my opinion. No different than I make mistakes in the box, no different than the coaches and the players, all part of the game. But this is a big victory for St. Joe. If they had lost this would have kind of soured last week's victory.
Yeah.
But now they're at 5-3. I do think regardless of what happens next week, St. Joe's in the playoffs, even at 5-4. Just like I think Lakeshore would end up in the playoffs at 5-4. Well, I think both of them will. Question is, if the districts line up as maybe people think they are, which means absolutely nothing other than what we think.
Yeah, because the states will say we'll draw the map.
I think
here.
they kind of do it to mess with people.
Yeah.
They look at what all the experts are saying. Yeah, let's just play around here.
They look at that snooze to use.
Yeah.
And
you go,
say,
no, he's too accurate. Let's not do that. But snooze to lose is for our listeners at home. It's snooze, the number 2 u.com. They'll have the playoff projections going into Monday. They'll have it, and then halfway through the week they'll do their projections based on who they think will win and lose. They
might not have the locations accurate, but they will definitely have who is probably in.
Oh yeah, they have that part. St. Joe stays with the Battle Creek area, which would be like Harper Creek, possibly at Gull Lake if they win tonight. At Gull Lake, I think it's going to have a challenge.
I mean, Gull Lake's 33 out of the 32 teams right now.
Yeah.
But Gull Lake scheduled very easily over the last 2 games.
Oh, who they got?
They have Pinckney tonight, and I don't remember who they have next week. But
yeah, I worked with Pinckney when I was with Department of Treasury. That's a different issue. But then St. Joe's playing for a home playoff game.
Yeah.
You go 6-3, St. Joe's probably got 1 playoff game. Same with Lakeshore. Now, if they end up going north, where you've got East Grand Rapids, both Zealands, 6-3 is putting you on the road.
Yeah, and St. Joe, no stranger to playing at Zealand East and Zealand West.
Which is the same school.
Yeah, well.
And their press box is about as big as the one we're in, this one right now, which it's not the biggest box. But, at least at St. Joe's heading to playoffs. They're a young team. We keep talking about that. They're maturing each week. Defense, I think the one area I think has really improved for St. Joe is St. Joe's team tackling.
Yes.
They had, you remember in the beginning of the season how many missed tackles they had?
Yeah, and, there's more of them around.
Exactly.
They're swarming to the ball now.
Yep. And I think St. Joe's front line is doing a nice job up there. 99, is that Miller? I don't have the
DeAndre Miller, yeah.
I think he's done a nice job. He was second on the tackles.
Don Ternay Miller.
And I think him and Vu did a really nice job up there, number 97. And, when you announce those guys getting active, that's a good sign because then it's less of Cleveland and Hershey and Lang and Heaps having to get involved on tackles, even though they will be. But like last week, you had Woyan leading the way for the Lancer, and he got 17 tackles. Well, you don't want your
DB
leading the way with that many tackles. That means nobody in the front or the middle got any tackles during the game.
Yeah, safety tackles are not the best thing.
No, not unless they're coming up and blitzing and being part of the play. So, good victory for St. Joe. Weather was the worst I've seen in a few years.
Yeah, and like I said, with Mattawan being the only grass field they have played on, the weather kind of complicated things, but St. Joe managed to get through it. St. Joe comes away with a 15-13 win over Mattawan tonight. St. Joe 5-3. They welcome Battle Creek Central to Dickinson Stadium next week. Far cry from what it was last year. Last year was the SMAC championship game. Yeah. And Battle Creek Central, they're playing Lakeview tonight, so I have not seen a score update in that one.
And Battle Creek Central has not won a game. I think their offense coordinator left for another school. I think they lost some players for a variety of reasons, and it just has not turned into the season they were hoping for.
I mean, Battle Creek Central, they were thinking, they were going to be right there.
Everybody did.
Yeah.
It wasn't – everybody thought they'd be up there, but when you lose key coaches and you lose key players, be like losing you. It'd be tough.
Thank you. I'm not going to hug you.
No, please don't.
St. Joe wins 15-13.
But you do a good job. We do
Thank
appreciate all you do for us.
I got your rosters tonight.
Yeah.
And I got you inside.
Well, thank you.
See?
I told Joel, thank goodness we're not at Portage Northern Central right now because we would be outside.
You'd be dripping wet and your heater would be shot.
No, it still works. It's weather resistant.
St. Joe wins 15-13, hosting Battle Creek Central next week at Steve Upton Field at Dickinson Stadium. We'll be on the air next week at 6:35, kickoff just before 7 o'clock. For Joel Cordes, Bret Witkowski, I'm Dave Wolf, WSJM Sports.